It is Saturday, October 28th, 2023. This is another World Series edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. And a quick reminder that you can save 10% on your next SeatGeek purchase if you download the app today on your phone, and then you use the code word JOHNBOY postseason, all one word, all caps. You can save 10% on your World Series tickets if you're going to Texas or Arizona, NFL games, college football, NBA, NHL, concert goers. Save 10% whether you're a newbie or a returning customer. Go use that code word JOHNBOY postseason. Yes, we are working on a Saturday because it is the World Series, and I couldn't be happier about it, Blue.
I love it, too. I mean, I stayed up, watched the game with Teddy, recorded Talking Baseball last night, recording baseball today, right now. Then I got two more baseball games today and tomorrow, plus the World Series. A lot of stuff going on. I'm just a baseball nut. I've realized that, man. I tried to get away from it for a little bit, but my life is baseball. It is.
You know who else is a baseball nut? None other than native Clevelander and future Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce. How shocked were you to see him in the building last night on a Friday? He does play Sunday in Denver.
I was thinking, like, why was he there? Like, what's up? What's going on? Because the Rams are in Dallas, so like maybe we'd see some of them tomorrow at the game. Probably not. But Travis Kelce flying, is he that big of a baseball fan, or is this just like, hey, bro, I'm keeping my face in front of everybody because it's going good for me right now?
So it's partially that, I do think, but he is a big baseball fan. He actually hit a home run when he went to Cleveland Heights High in, well, I still call it Jacobs Field, Progressive Field. When he was in high school, he hit a home run there. So he's always been a big baseball fan. He was part of the softball celebrity softball game at the All-Star game in Cleveland in 2019. I had a big chat with him, and listen, he does, there's no question he likes the camera, but he's a fun dude.
Do you think Travis Kelce knows who I am? Like, oh, that guy, I saw him play baseball once.
Oh yeah, no, I think so. Definitely. Every time I see him,
his Cleveland team a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he knows exactly who you are. I don't think there's a question about it. He pays attention.
That's pretty cool.
He knows who I am. I see him every few years. I get to see him on the desk.
Yeah, no kidding.
With the Super Bowl.
You guys are like best friends.
Well, we're definitely not best friends, but there you go. Also, nice first pitch before we get into the game by George Bush. I thought, first of all, I was like, man, I wonder how old he is. How old do you think he is?
Oh, shoot. He's got to be like in his 80s, I think, like high 70s.
Yep, he's 77. I was like, God, because I lost track of how old he was, and then when he bounced it, I really had to check it. So I'll never rip on him for first pitch, based on what he did 2001 World Series.
Yeah, no, that's probably the greatest first pitch in the history of first pitches. That one last night, it got mentioned on the broadcast. He threw another strike. He didn't. It was, unless we're playing like cricket.
All right, let's get to the game. Boy, oh boy, we had to wait a long time to get an extra inning game here in the postseason, but boy, oh boy, was it well worth the wait. A fantastic finish between the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. Texas takes it in extra innings, but there was a swing in the ninth that set the tone before the game winner.
Could tie it with one swing. High drive! It's tied! Adolis Garcia sends one the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall, and the legend grows! Adolis Garcia wins game one!
I think that it just kind of shows us that you can never count us out, especially, we were kind of down the majority of the game right there, but in the end it didn't matter, and that's what you need, people around you that are going to be veterans, that are going to come through in those moments like that, and it's just been, you have all the confidence in the world.
By the way, not only is Evan Carter, 21-year-old stud at playing baseball, he just encapsulated the entire moment beautifully right there. So Adolis Garcia gives us our first walk-off home run in Game 1 of the World Series since Gibby took Dennis Eckersley deep in 1988. The dude has just been on a roll, Plouffe.
He's a stud, and I'm wondering right there, we can get into the gameplay. Wonderful swing by him, wonderful swing by Seager. Awesome. Why are we pitching to Adolis right there? 3-1, and you're throwing a heater? Like, maybe any other pitch, or like, let's just take our chances with Mitch Garver and then your boy Hedgie.
Right.
Like, I don't know what was going on right there. If that was supposed to just be a ball, you could just go like this or just throw one in the dirt. I don't know. It doesn't matter because the pitch was middle and Adolis did not miss it. And it seems right now that it's a foregone conclusion that in a big spot, if you throw him strikes and you get behind the count, he's going to do damage to you. It's going to be interesting to see, Chris, how they approach him in the coming games of the series.
So, I think he burst onto the scene last year, right? Isn't that when he really
took
off?
Homers.
Yeah. And so we were like, God, what is the backstory on this guy? Because we just didn't know. And then you trace it back to his roots with the Cardinals and being roommates with Randy Arozarena, who had 10 homers in a playoff run in 2020 to help the Rays get all the way to the World Series. And you find out more about his story being from Cuba. And it's remarkable. And then he has been smack dab in the middle of everything they have done. One thing I think people forget is that he missed a bunch of games down the stretch for the Rangers. Remember, was it that he got hit by a pitch or something? I forget exactly what the injury was. Or if he ran into a wall and got banged up. Ranger fans can help me out in the chat as to why he missed some time. But they were like, I don't even know if he's going to be ready for the playoffs. But he did. He made it back. And he's been in the middle of everything, good and bad. Martin Maldonado, who said, well, you made a mistake and woke us up. Well, it's been exactly the opposite ever since then. And you just never know what goes into making an athlete focus to the nth degree and making them dangerous and more dangerous at what they do. But something has unlocked this man to take him to a level that we rarely see at this time of year.
Yeah, everything in his swing right now is so precise. He's repeating everything. The barrel is going exactly where he wants it to go. And there's just like, it seems like there's no wasted movement. So when you feel like that and you're seeing the ball the way he's seeing the ball, all it is taking the big part of the bat to the ball. That's as simple as it is for Adolis right now. And as strong as he is. We used to call Josh Young the thick neck dude on the Rangers, but I mean, Garcia's got him by a mile.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is roped up. He's so strong and so compact. It's really impressive watching him hit right now.
And he made that play in the alley too. Like, don't sleep on that. Those are more runs if he doesn't make that catch. What was that at the end of the 8th or the 9th? I forget.
You're talking about the Corbin Carroll ball?
Yeah. The one in the alley where he backhanded it.
Well, there was 2. He had a couple catches, I think.
So and he stole a base after he got hit by a pitch where everybody's like, oh my God, he just broke a bone in his hand. That dude must be made of something different than the rest of us. Because every time he gets hit, you think he's going to break into something, and he's good.
That's been the difference for him is, typically he's been a power guy with a low OBP, but this year he stepped up the on-base percentage, which just means he's seeing the ball better. He's swinging at more strikes, not swinging at balls. And it's just kind of, when you get all that working together, man, it's a magical thing.
Well, speaking of a guy who is definitely seeing it, Corey Seager is the one who hit the 2-run homer off of Paul Sewald, who's been as dominant as any reliever throughout this postseason, to tie the game at 5. So a couple of years ago, he takes the $300+ million deal to go from the Dodgers to the Rangers when the Dodgers were still the Dodgers and the Rangers hadn't done anything since 2016. And the narrative was nice little money grab, cute story, guy who always gets injured. What is the narrative surrounding Corey Seager this morning?
He made the right choice. I don't think you can fault people for saying that about Texas at that time. Everybody says when they're rebuilding, oh, we got a vision. Everybody says you got to execute it. You got to get lucky. You got to sign the right guys. You got to have guys overperform. You got to have young guys come up and do it. But he got it right. He trusted in did Chris Young sign him? He did, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He trusted in that vision. And you know what? This year, even through 119 games, the numbers he put up are absurd, Chris. And I started looking around like, what is different this year? Because in 2022, his first year with the Rangers, played 151 games, pretty much healthy all season. And he had one of his lowest OPS of his career at 772. So I went and looked at his Baseball Savant page. This year, he's faced 11 different types of pitches, Chris.
Wow.
We can knock off 3 of them: a slurve, a forkball, and a knuckleball. You didn't see like many of those, but those are all 0 run valued. So not negative, not positive. It doesn't have enough pitches. But the other 8, all 8 pitches, positive run value. Especially the off-speed pitches, he's crushing this year. And in years past, it wasn't the case. He's always been able to hit fastballs, but something clicked for him this year with the breaking pitches, whether that's him getting a little bit older, understanding his body, whatever it is. If it's that dang bat that he uses, I found out it's his second bat of the year, not his first bat of the year. If you look at that thing, it looks like he's had it for 8 years, but it's only on his second bat of the year. Whatever happened this year, he's crushing off-speed pitches. He's crushing fastballs. He's not missing anything. And now it looks like with this core that they have here, with this run that they're on, I mean, yeah, this is so far removed from Corey Seager took a payday and he's going to be just gone like Chris Bryant in Colorado. And I hope Chris Bryant gets his flowers maybe in a couple of years. But right now, Seager looks like he made the best decision possible, and the Rangers look like they made the best decision possible. When they had to choose between all these different shortstops that were out there, they chose a good one.
Yeah, and if you're a Dodgers fan today, wondering why we let him go, if you're a Yankees fan today, wondering why we didn't pursue him stronger, there are teams today that are wondering all of that sort of stuff. I think the good thing is that I was worried when he went to Texas that, yeah, he would go into baseball oblivion, and one of the really good postseason players of our era would kind of lose the rest of his playoff prime without an opportunity. And here he is. Was there any doubt, even though Paul Sewald has been unbelievable, but I mean, walking Taveras, walking the number 9 hitter to start off that inning, that's something that you can't lose sight of, right? I mean, Taveras is a guy, he did get a couple of walks last night, but he is pretty much a free swinger. He'll chase at anything in the dirt. Outside of the strike zone, he'll go. He kind of leaves those fastballs outside of the zone, but breaking balls, he has a tough time laying off of. And Sewald, the invisible fastball for the first time, was not invisible. And man, oh man, there's that image. Have you seen the picture of Seager on the follow-through where he's screaming? That's freaking awesome.
I mean, he knew right away. And that swing path, his swing path matching up with Sewald's angle is difficult. Like, you have to be so precise. That's why they call it an invisible. Like, it's just not easy to get on plane with. Mm-hmm. He caught it perfectly. He knew right away. You hit that thing, you don't feel a thing, but you know it's gone. You know you just tied up a World Series game in the freaking bottom of the 9th against one of the better closers in the game. I mean, everything worked out. It was awesome. I thought, though, Chris, we got to give a little bit of credit to the Rangers bullpen.
Hell yes, you do.
Is just locking it down. And there was an inning, I believe it was the 7th inning, the top of Carroll tries the bunt. They make a play. Marte goes up the middle. Simeon makes a play. If those two guys get on, like, more runs score, it's being able to lock it down like that. At the time, you're like, okay, 2 outs, no big deal. But, like, if you really look back at the game, if you don't play defense like that and you don't stay focused to keep a 2-run lead or 2-run deficit, things are different. So, I mean, I think we talked about this last time on Talking Baseball. I thought the Diamondbacks played an exceptional game. They did everything right. They got it to their closer with a 2-run lead. They basically won the game, but Paul Sewald gave it up. And then you have the Rangers coming back at the end like that. So just a phenomenal baseball game.
Yeah, unbelievable. There's no question about it. And here's some bad news for Diamondbacks fans. And I saw this on Twitter countless times, or X, last night as I was perusing, that now in 3 of their 4 World Series road games that they've given up the game-tying homer in the 9th inning. Ouch.
It's Seager.
Yeah.
And Adelise, so I don't know which one you're counting here. Jeter, I saw. And then who's the other one?
I think Tino hit one.
Oh.
And I believe
love Tino Martinez.
Yeah, right? Wasn't it Tino who hit that one? Brocious? Did he get one?
I asked. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd have to go back to the 2001 log, but it was off of Byung-Hyun Kim. Little side armor. And but didn't matter. Diamondbacks won their 4 home games and ended up taking down that 2001 series. And the difference here is that Arizona's going to have to win a road game for the first time in the World Series if it wants to hoist the commissioner's trophy. That was just crazy. So you talked a little bit about what this means for Arizona. Here is their skipper, Torey Lovullo, after last night's tough one.
This is how the game goes sometimes, and we got to find a way to be resilient and adaptable and come out with a clean mind and do our best. And I have every reason to believe that we will. We've done it a lot this year.
I got to be honest with you. We've talked when your bullpen blows a lead during the regular season, that's not just like any other loss, right? You really feel it in your bones. When you get to October and you have a multi-run lead and the dude you want on the mound and you don't get it, the way you bounce back the next day is imperative. That's the thing I'll be watching for tonight.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, they did everything right. I think that's the message. That's the message that you have to take away if you're a Diamondbacks player or even a fan. Like, we did everything right. We got it to Seawald. You'll take your chances. If you say, I'm going to put Seawald in the exact same position tonight, you'll take that. Up 2 runs and you got him going, like, you did it, man. So, like, they don't call them the answer backs for nothing. They've been doing this. They lost 2 in Philly and came back and won the series. We're talking about the most hostile environment. Everyone can shut up about how hostile Philly was. They came in and won game 6 and 7 there. Like, they're going to be okay. This is going to be a very, very competitive series, man. Definitely, they got punched. They got punched hard, Chris. Maybe even sucker punched. I didn't even see that one coming. But I like Torey Lovullo, have a lot of faith in their ability to come back and put together a great effort tonight.
Yeah, I know it was just a small portion, but they were down 2-0 after the first, right? You talked yesterday about the Rangers. You thought their biggest advantage was their ability to put up crooked numbers. And here the Diamondbacks on the road in a hostile environment, they're down 2-0, and boom, they come right back, and Corbin Carroll aces the 2-run triple, and all of a sudden, then they grab a 3-2 lead. And their bullpen was doing a really, really good job until the last part. And man, they stole bases, right?
Yeah.
They stole 4 bases. Christian Walker's stolen 5 bases here. That's almost half his regular season total. They're running exactly the scheme that they want to in order to win the series.
I was going to mention that. To me, that was a big factor in the game. They see the ability to take the extra base, and they did it. I think it's their 3rd straight game with 4 stolen bases. They weren't running against the Phillies, and all of a sudden they just kind of decided to do it. I'm still curious about what happened there in those middle games, but they're confident in their ability to take the extra base right now. That's going to prove dividends in the series. Just puts so much pressure on the defense. You're constantly now, a walk is a double because they're going to steal. I mean, they're going almost at will right now. And also, and I'm curious your take on this. I said this last night on Talking Baseball. They can't pinch hit for Jonah Heim anymore, or pinch run for Jonah Heim anymore.
No,
like, I don't mean to take shots at Hedges, but holy shnikey, man.
Well, listen, in fairness, we know that he's never going to be mistaken for Johnny Bench or Pudge Rodriguez at the dish.
Yeah. And he hasn't had an at-bat in a month.
So, and by the way, if you go look at where those pitches were, those are pretty good.
They were nasty.
Pitches. Right. So he didn't have any shot whatsoever. So the idea, I get the idea of pinch running for Jonah Heim. Everybody's like, well, you can't throw in a defensive replay. That's not what they were doing. They were down 2.
Yeah.
Heim, I think, had just walked.
They put him on first base, yeah.
Right. So they had first and second, and I believe there were 2 outs when it happened. So what they're hoping is ball gets in the alley, and you get your speedy guy home. I understand the philosophy, and the other philosophy is this, is that by the time the order runs its way back around to Jonah Heim, who, if they get out of the inning, he would be hitting 8 the next inning, it means that we will have tied the game. I think that's the thought process. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, did it cost them a shot at the win in the 9th inning? 100% it did. But I can't fault the thought process there. You've kind of covered your bases, if you will. You're not sending up, right? Because I just want to make sure I'm doing the math here right. If he hits 8 the next inning, if you get 2 outs and you get 3 base runners on, that's 5 people. You still have 2 other guys to hit before he hits, which means you will have either tied the game or the game's over. So I understand the thought process.
I was rooting as hard as I've ever rooted for a hitter.
Tell me about it.
And no offense to the Snakes, I don't really have a rooting interest in this one. I'm enjoying the good baseball, but our boy Hedgie up there with a chance. I was like, talk about a freaking moment. Not one at bat in the postseason, coming in against a shell-shocked closer. I was like, dude, this might happen.
I know.
This might happen. And then Sewald and Moreno were smart enough to be like, this guy is going to be coming up trying to ambush a fastball and just
Nasty
3 in a
pitches.
row, no chance.
0. And
There was a video going around. I don't mean to keep piling on. I think it was the Cespedes Family Barbecue guys put it out, and they showed Hedgie's reaction after El Bombi, and they said, when you find out you don't have to hit anymore.
right, exactly. Hey,
It's pretty
I get it. And you know what? He'll be the first one to laugh and wear it. He'll be upset because he's all about getting the team win. Like what do you think? People know
he's
that
great. He does everything that he's supposed to do on that team.
Exactly. That's his role. And people are like, why the fuck is he even on it? He's on it for 2 reasons. Number one, he's a good guy who's never going to complain about anything, and his role. Teams that have a third catcher, it gives you the versatility to do what they did last night, to pinch run, because Jonah Heim isn't guaranteed to be scoring on an Alley's double. He's just
Is he the
not.
third catcher? Is there another
He's
catcher?
the third, Mitch Garver, but he was the DH last night. So everybody should have said, okay, so let's really quickly think about this. If you take Garver out, it's fine, but it means that you have to then pinch hit.
Yeah, you can't. No.
Every time the pitcher's role would have come up, because you're going to lose the DH. And at some point, if it goes too far, you're going to have a pitcher hitting in the World Series. And don't give me this bullshit. Well, that's just as good as having Austin Hedges at the plate. It's not. And finally, if for no other reason, and you're looking for a reason to root for the Texas Rangers, it's because Hedges on the Rose rotation promised that he would wear chaps and a cowboy hat during the parade and stream with us live.
Like only chaps? Why do I think assless chaps right away? My head just goes there.
Well, I said assless chaps on the clip, and everybody's like, hey, dummy, all chaps are assless.
Oh, that makes sense.
He goes,
There's
if they're not
under the chaps.
If they're not, they're called pants. I said, okay, fair enough. I don't wear chaps enough to know the difference. So you're right. Thank you. Let's quickly move on to the Game 2 pitching matchup tonight. Merrill Kelly going against Jordan Montgomery. Merrill, of course, has been lights out this postseason. Do you think he's going to outduel a guy who has been even better than him?
Outduel? I don't know. I think he's going to give up a really good effort. I think Montgomery's been incredible as well. Going back to Kelly's logs, when he pitched 2 times against Philadelphia in the CS. The first game, 5 2/3, 4 earned runs, but those were 3 solo shots. That you kind of understand that's going to happen when you play against a team like the Phillies. You can probably expect a little bit of that going up against the Rangers. Next time he faced him, 5 innings pitch, only 1 earned run, 8 Ks. He's kind of got it working right now. I wouldn't put my money on him out-dueling Jordan Montgomery, but I definitely think he's going to put up an effort. And that was something that happened in last night's game. Zach Gallen being able to go 5 innings, after he was through 70 pitches in the third, I think was massive for the D-backs to get him into the position to win the game. Mm-hmm. Kelly's got to do the same thing. You got to go at least 5. Mm-hmm. Like, try to do your best to go out there and get through 6 so you can really pare that bullpen down to who you want. I would say Montgomery. I don't know. I would lean Montgomery if we're saying who's going to have a better line. I just think he's been more consistent.
Yeah, I just think he has to go pitch for pitch with him, meaning he can't give up 4 runs and Monty gives up 1. That's just that sort of math I don't think will work out for Arizona in the long run. Kelly's been great. I think he's given up 5 runs in his postseason this year, 3 of them coming on solo shots. Let's remember, in Game 2 in Philadelphia, he pitched great. I think he gave up 3 solo shots, and that was it. And those were the only hits maybe he gave up. And then he turned around in Game 6. He wanted the ball again in the place where he was like, well, it can't be louder than the World Baseball Classic. And so the fans were all on him, and he did great. He handed the ball over to him in Game 7 and kept the train rolling, and I fully expect him to do it. The thing I'm worried about is that Torey Lovullo unleashed his entire A bullpen, and they didn't get the win. Like, Ginkel threw 28 pitches, Sewald threw 21 or 22. Now, listen, I know it's Game 2 of the World Series. You're going to do whatever you can. The question is, with as much as these guys have pitched, and Ginkel, Seawald, and one other guy, Thompson, have all thrown in, I think, 9 of their 13 playoff games. That starts to build up, man. It just means that you might not be as sharp. Your breaking stuff isn't as good. It's not a velocity question usually with guys, right? It's their breaking stuff not being as sharp when they're used this frequently. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's something as silly as calling it like, the conviction on a pitch or the some late life on a pitch. There's something about a guy when he's not at 100%, like the sharpness just isn't there, if you will. So you really have to rely on location. And if you miss spots and your sharpness isn't there, the big league hitters are going to get you most of the time. But I think a lot of these guys are getting exposed. Like Seawald he's seen these guys a lot. That's one thing I don't think a lot of people talked about enough is Corey Seager's seen Seawald.
Right.
He's with the Mariners. And I think once you start to see these relievers more and more, again, especially a guy with the invisible that Seawald has, you start to get a little bit more comfortable. I mean, Leclerc has thrown in a bunch of games. He got 2 more innings last night. Like, that's going to happen in a long series like this. You're going to see these guys, and you got to suck it up, man. Ginkel last night I thought was awesome because he didn't have that breaking pitch, couldn't control it, so he started throwing heaters and got through the inning. I think that's really important for him to know that he's got that in the bag too.
I mean, it is 98. It's not like it's 91.
He's going up and in. Oh.
All right, before we get out of here, how about the trio of sandwiches that's available at that ballpark for $250? You get these enormous 6-foot subs. Starts with a 3-strike lobster roll consisting of fresh lobster topped with beef tenderloin, the Rangers version of surf and turf. You got the boomstick burger made up of 2-foot-long beef patties covered in nacho cheese, chili, jalapenos, and onion rings. The third sandwich is the boomstick hot dog, 2-foot-long hot dogs covered in nacho cheese, chili, jalapenos, and caramelized onions. Any interest in that triumvirate for $250?
I'm going to give a shout out to my guy Chef Reactions on TikTok and Instagram. What he would say about this is 0 out of 10, but of course I'd try it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. $250. I'm not so sure I could pull that off.
Yes, you would. Chris Rose, that's just like the little pocket change from your freaking BattleBots money. Yeah.
That's not it. I mean, right. Is it going to put a dent in my life forever if I pay $250 for it? Particularly if I'm able to expense it according to my accountant, because it is for content. Yeah, I'm just not so sure I could do that. And I'm not so sure what the blue thing was. Was that a blue bun?
I didn't know what that was either. That's a bun, I'd assume.
Yeah, that one kind of scary. I thought maybe like a Smurf took
Is that
a shit
the surf
on
and turf?
No, that's the burger. Looks like it's got egg on it. That looks nasty. Okay, I'm out. Yeah, that made the decision.
I mean, I would try every single one for sure.
The Smurf dump on top of the burger kind of killed it for me. Somebody in our chat said that we want to see Rose in the chap sipping mead. No, thank you. Speaking of making your tummy not feeling good, believe me, Michelle has been married to me for 26 years. She makes me get dressed in the dark. All right. Everybody enjoy Game 2. We are not doing a show on Sunday. We will resume on Monday with a wrap-up of the entire weekend, looking ahead to the series as it shifts to Arizona, and we cannot wait. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and the uber-talented and still clean-shaven Coach Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday on Baseball Today.